All right, computer's plugged in. So now let's talk about phylogeny. So phylogeny is very related to this idea. It is the grouping of organisms based on these evolutionary relationships. So based on how closely related they are. Again, this is kind of similar to a family tree. So for here, this is a phylogenetic tree for echinoderms. We'll talk about what those are later, but basically sea stars, sea cucumbers, sea urchins, they're all echinoderms. And so we can see in this phylogenetic tree, sea urchins and sea cucumbers, they have a pretty recent common ancestor right here. So that means they're probably pretty close related. They have a lot of traits in common. We call those shared traits. Whereas, say, sea cucumbers and sea stars, their most recent common ancestor is right here. This one right here is the common ancestor of both sea stars and, if you go all the way down here, sea cucumbers. So their common ancestor is much further back. So they are going to be able to have a little less in common than these two did. So generally how we do this is we say if they have more shared traits, they're probably more closely related, which means they have a more recent common ancestor. And so we should kind of put them into the same group. So here's an example of a phylogenetic tree. This is for a bunch of different animals here. Here they both have, the split. So again, the split here would be a common ancestor. And then here it's showing like the traits from that common ancestor that ended up in both of the species below here. So for example, you can see fish are out here, as we call it an outgroup. Fish are over here, and then all of these animals down here all have four legs. So they all have four legs. So that is a trait, a shared trait between all these guys here. So that's kind of how this works. And the next question is you're going to look at that phylogenetic tree right there. And you're going to kind of try and figure out how these work a bit. So I am asking, does an elephant have a more recent common ancestor with a platypus or with an angelfish? And what is one shared trait between an elephant and a kangaroo? So basically looking at that tree, try to figure out the answer to these. Again, there is a right answer, but if you get it wrong, you still get credit. Again, it's kind of for you to think about and try to interpret this phylogenetic tree. And yep, really short video.